Hi guys, welcome to our psychology podcast. Today I will discuss about Sigmund Freud, and here with me,
I am Deepa and today I'm going to discuss about Jean Piaget.
so I'm Loshni. So Deepa, you can go first with your famous
So, Jean Piaget was a Swiss psychologist known for his work on child development. And the cool part is, Losh, that DNA knowledge is a mixture of Piaget's theory of brain development and scientific standpoint. Yeah. So Piaget, right? He has this particular thing that he thought that children's education was very important. Okay, he used to say that only education is capable of saving our societies from possible collapse, whether violent or delayed in 1934. It's really cool.
It's very cool about Jean Piaget. So Deepa, do you know who is Sigmund Freud is?
No, but I like to hear it from you.
Okay, so Sigmund Freud was born in 1856 in Moravia, and now it called as Czech Republic. And later he moved to Vienna, Austria, where he spent most of his life after becoming a physician. But after becoming a physician, he turned his attention to neurology. There is a hidden part here where most of us not know about it. He is actually a student who studied medicine.
Wow.
Yeah,
Medicine.
he
Okay.
was deeply interested in working with humans' mind. During his study, he was influenced by great philosophers and scientists such as Arthur uh, and Friedrich.
Well, that's very interesting to hear about that, Losh. It's so cool. Anyways, when I was searching about Jean Piaget, I found out that while teaching at the University of Geneva,
Mhm.
Piaget founded the International Center for Genetic Epistemology in 1955.
Mhm.
He managed its operations until his passing in 1980. So now the center is now referred as Piaget's Factory in academic literature due to the volume of collaborations that initially made possible and the importance they hold.
Uh-huh.
And the best part is that Piaget was dubbed the great pioneer of the constructivist theory of knowing. The 1960s saw a great deal of promotion of his ideas. This ultimately caused the study of development to become one of psychology's main subfields.
Mm.
At the peak of 20th century, as a psychologist with the largest number of quotation, he was surpassed only by B.F. Skinner.
Okay, B.F. Skinner is a behaviorist, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as I said, Sigmund Freud is influenced by the great philosophers, right? So now he is known as the founder of psychoanalysis, a method of treating psychological illness through dialogue between a patient and a psychoanalysis. So Freud introduced the fanatical concept of the unconscious mind, proposing that our behavior, desires, and memories are strongly influenced by the unconscious forces as environmental. And he also developed psychoanalytic techniques such as dream analysis and free associations to explore the depth of the human soul. Yeah, it's interesting. And what grabbed my attention was those theory he brings out. It's actually a reality. So when we can say that our brain, our desires, mostly influenced by the external factors. For example, now my desire can be to be veterinarian, but after looking into a psychology concept and the factors, maybe my desire can change into a psychologist. So this is how I understand his theories.
On my Palosh, Piaget identified as genetic epistemologist who was concerned in the process of how knowledge develops on a qualitative level. He understood the creation of thinking process and as an aspect into natural rules. So it's like upon the release of his complete theory, which was founded of a fundamentalist and cognitive approach. It was a remarkable and stimulating advancement for the psychology field at that time. That time, you weren't our grandmothers weren't so familiar with this. But that time itself, Jean Piaget or Sigmund Freud, they all found lots of theories behind it, and they're like, such creative minds. And it's really glad that I'm learning all this now.
True.
So tell me, Losh, how did Freud's work go beyond individual psychology?
Okay, so Freud's work extended beyond psychology into arts, literature, and culture by inspiring the artists, writers, and also thinkers to explore themes of the unconscious mind, sexuality, and also human behavior. So his ideas influenced literature, visual arts, and film in shaping the cultural critics and also literary analysis through concepts like the unconscious, repressions, and also symbolism.
That's really interesting.
So this is how individual psychology in new generation and also in old has been developed. So Deepa, did Piaget conduct any research?
Yes, he did, Losh. Piaget conducted research during 4 separate time periods. Books on particular issues in developmental psychology were addressed in each of them. But the best part is Piaget. He spoke about he did a research on his own 3 children.
Wow,
Yeah,
okay.
closely, like he was following and assessing the way they think throughout the course of the research.
Mhm.
And he aimed to explain knowledge development as a process of equilibration using two main concepts in his theory: assimilation and accommodation.
Okay.
Regarding balance of cognitive structures, the central problem of intellectual development, one of his last writings, as belonging not only to biological interactions but also to behavioral ones. Piaget conducted experiments with children and teenagers because he thought that by looking at the genetic side of things, answers to the ethical concerns of the day could be found, or better yet, proposed. What the genetic epistemology proposes is discovering the roots of the different varieties of knowledge
Mhm.
since its elementary forms, following to the next level, including also the scientific knowledge. So, Roshni, tell me about Sigmund Freud's famous contribution.
Okay, so his famous contribution is in his founding name itself, which is psychoanalysis.
Huh?
Therefore, psychoanalytic theory is focuses on human behavior, which is largely determined by the unconscious and also conflicts. Yeah, so he divided the mind into three parts, which he called as iceberg.
Wow, iceberg reminds me of Titanic. What is this about?
Okay, this iceberg is divided into three parts, where I said just now. So the upper part will be the ego, which is the conscious level, and the second one is super ego, which is the pre-conscious level, and the last one is unconscious level. So ego is decision maker in our mind. So it's the part of our personality and that deals with the reality balancing. So the desire of the eat, the impulsive part seeking pleasure with the rules of superego, which is the morality part. Think of it as a referee between your wants and also what's socially acceptable. Yeah. So when it comes to pre-conscious level, which is the superego, it is as the good angel in our shoulder. So it's like a little voice to inside of us that knows right from wrong based on what we have been taught by our families, our environment, culture, society. So it helps us make decision by reminding of the rules and the morals. So the last part, which is the unconscious level, this is the unconscious part of the mind that operates on the pleasure, seeking the immediate gratification for the basic urges and desire without considering the consequences. So the urge to have something, it is the unconscious thing. It grows between every one of us, but it will be an unconscious part. Yeah.
So basically, now there are categories in ego.
Yes.
That's interesting. Also, you only know ego, but now there's ego, super ego, and ego. Wow,
Yeah.
amazing. So now, as we come to the study of figurative thought, Piaget examined non-logical aspects of intelligence such as perception and memory. I think
Mhm.
you would have knew about it,
Yes.
we already learned about it many times.
True.
Since logical concepts can always be traced back to their original starting point,
Mhm.
they are referred to as fully revisable. Yeah.
Okay.
For example, this means that if one begins with a given premise and proceeds in a certain order to arrive at a conclusion, the same steps can be taken in the opposite order, beginning from the conclusion to arrive at the premise.
Okay.
Piaget, right, he explored perceptual notions that were immutable to explain the process of metaphor. Okay, so comes memory. Memory functions similarly. Individuals, they may not be able to remember every detail that happened in between 2 points in time. You notice some people when they argue, right? Not all of them will have a proper valid point. Some of them will get stuck there because they can't remember every single detail. It happens just instant, okay?
Mhm.
It's a very good theory about memory. Okay, so it comes to books on perception, memory, and other figurative processes like learning were also produced by Piaget and his collaborator in Holder during his latter phase of their work. Now, looking at the idea, right, the idea of readiness is crucial because Piaget's theory is predicated on biological growth and phases. Okay, so not only concerns about readiness when certain knowledge or ideas need to be taught.
Mhm.
So Piaget's hypothesis states that some concepts shouldn't be taught to kids until they have reached the right cognitive development stage. As an example, right, when you go to the cinemas, they say this age group cannot watch 18 plus 18 movies.
Yes.
Okay, and in my own experience, before I turned 18, I used to watch action films.
Mhm.
I was kind of disturbed. Not, I
Ah.
wasn't really prepared watching that. But
Mhm.
once I turned 18 and I went for action movies, and when I watched that, I am able to adapt it. I'm able to face that.
Yes.
So, and I learned that in developmental psychology, my lecturer did mention that it's the way your brain develops. Moment you come to the certain age group, your brain develops by that.
True.
Yeah.
I accept that because even childrens who before turns 18 they started to watch all those
Yes.
disturbing stuff that where they shouldn't watch. So that's why
Yeah.
Malaysia and other countries ban
Yeah, this kind of
websites and
websites.
all that. Yeah.
So I think you can relate with that too.
Yes, true.
So when it comes to pre-operational children, for instance, think in irreversible
Mm-hmm.
ways and are unable to understand that something that has undergone some sort of transformation can be changed to its original state. So,
Mm-hmm.
in my opinion, children, they still need to stay and be in the age group so that they will not face future problems. Certain children, they do not behave the age group because I think not only children but parents don't really control their children. So some of them, they get into early depression, anxieties, and then some of them may lead to suicide. So it's to stop all this, to create awareness, we better start now itself.
Yeah.
So tell me, Losh, has Sigmund Freud did any case study before?
Yes, of course he did. His biggest case study is Anna O. Have you heard about it?
No.
Okay, so basically, Anna O is a person who suffers from hysteria, symptoms including paralysis, hallucinating, and also psychosis. So, through psychoanalytic and hypnotic treatment, which is Freud and Brewer discovered the underlying psychological cause of the symptom. So, the case of Anna O played a central role in the development of psychoanalysis, especially in understanding the role of unconscious conflicts and the importance of the therapeutic relationship. So, what Anna O have to do during her treatment was all she have to do is talk. She would speak of her symptoms and their onset while under hypnosis. She eventually began referring to this process as Kimni Sweepy and later as the talking cure. So, the outcome of this case study is through this process, Anna O was able to recall and articulate the traumatic experiences linked to her symptoms, which gradually led to the resolution. This case was pivotal in demonstrating the effectiveness of addressing the unconscious causes of physical symptoms. Yeah. So the highlight the transformative power of talk therapy and subconscious healing.
So, Roshni, as we are reaching to the conclusion, I would really like to know what is the controversy surrounding Sigmund Freud's work?
So Freud's theory, although it's revolutionary, but we're not without criticism. So his psychosexual theory have been accused of being sexist and reflecting the cultural prejudice of his time. Example, penis envy. Freud's concept of penis envy have been criticized for perpetuating gender stereotypes and reflecting the cultural biases of his time. The idea suggests that women desire male genitalia due to feelings of inferiority, but it oversimplifies gender dynamics and neglects the diverse experiences of individuals. So what he's saying was female wants male's body parts because of their feelings, their inferiority wants male's body, which is actually um, criticizing women's feelings and experiences. But it is also true. The half part is true because when we having the monthly pain, of course, every girl have been taught that why don't boys face that? Why don't boys have that body parts?
I agree.
And why don't we have that boys body parts? Because they won't be feeling the pain each and every month, right? So this is what he explains, but the way he explains might be criticized. So but now when we look back, even though it has been criticized and studied so far, it is because the evidence is factual. So Deepa, let me ask your opinion on this matter. So what do you think about all those criticism and the way he said the gender stereotypes and all? What are your feelings?
Okay, in my opinion, Losh, to be honest, Sigmund Freud could have said it in a better way, not being harsh, by not being rude, not being harsh. He could have said in a very humble way, calm way. By he using that type of tone, he created an image that he is a gender biased person, and that image cannot be removed very soon, very quick. It will take time, and for the people who heard that will have to think and go deep. Whoever who knows him deeply will know that okay, he didn't mean it, but not all will think about it. That's my opinion. So I guess we really spoke a lot about Jean Piaget and Sigmund Freud, and I think both of us learned a lot from each other, but psychologists, as we both spoke about a very famous psychologist.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's a wrap for today. We hope you enjoyed, and thank you so much for listening to us.
So like, share, comment in the